I didn't change what I said, I changed how I showed up. And suddenly, she started opening doors I never knocked on before. Not because I was clever, not because I said the perfect thing, but because she felt something different, something rare, a sense of calm, of safety, of being seen without pressure. Most people think connection is built by saying more. But the truth is, it's built by listening deeper, even through silence. If you've ever wondered why your messages go unanswered or why conversations stay surface level, stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't about texting. It's about human nature. Comment where you're watching from, subscribe for deeper conversations that actually change how people respond to you. Most men think texting is a performance. They think the right words, the clever jokes, or the perfect timing will win her over. I used to think that too. I would scroll, overthink, rewrite messages, trying to be someone I wasn't, trying to impress someone I barely knew. But the truth is, people don't open up to performers. They open up to presence. They open up to someone who makes them feel safe. And that realization changed everything. The moment I shifted my mindset from how do I impress her to how do I make her feel seen was the moment everything started to move naturally. I realized that emotional safety isn't built with long paragraphs or witty punchlines. It's built with consistency, attention, and respect. A simple text that acknowledges her feelings, a subtle observation that shows I'm paying attention, or even the patience to wait for her response. All of these create an invisible space where she can breathe. She doesn't need a performance. She needs someone who makes her feel understood. When you stop trying to prove your worth and start offering calm, grounded presence, you stop pushing her away and start inviting her in. This isn't just theory, it's science. Humans are wired to respond to emotional safety. Our nervous systems relax when we feel seen, heard, and unjudged. And when someone's nervous system relaxes, their walls come down. That's why I stopped overthinking my texts. I stopped using clever lines as a shield, and I started writing with awareness and intention. I started noticing small details in her responses, the words she lingered on, the emotions behind her sentences, and instead of reacting, I simply reflected back what I noticed, creating a quiet rhythm of trust. That rhythm matters more than any line designed to impress. I also had to unlearn something very deep, the need for control. We think texting is about getting a certain result, getting her to reply, or making her like us. But real connection is never forced, it's invited. And the most powerful way to invite it is by showing up as yourself, fully present, without expectation. When I stopped measuring my self-worth by her replies, something remarkable happened. She began to open up on her own. Conversations became natural. Moments of vulnerability surfaced because she chose to share them, not because I demanded them. If there's one thing I want you to take from this, it's this: presence outweighs performance. Your words matter, yes, but more than that, the energy behind them matters. The calm, patient, attentive energy you bring to a conversation will reach deeper than the cleverest text ever could. Stop trying to impress, start trying to understand, and you'll be amazed at how quickly people open up to you. Connection isn't a trick, it's a choice. And the choice you make today could change every conversation you have tomorrow. If you want, I can expand key points 2 and 3 in the same style, creating a full 10-minute speech, fully interwoven so the tone, pacing, and suspense build naturally from start to finish. This will match the viral motivational style you've used in your past projects. I realized early on that most people text all wrong. They ask question after question, turning a conversation into something that feels like an interview. How was your day? What did you eat? Why didn't you reply? We bombard them with inquiries, expecting connection to emerge from our curiosity. But the truth is, questions often create pressure. They put someone in a position where they feel like they're being evaluated, tested, or examined. And when that happens, walls go up, defenses rise, and the heart, the real human part, stays hidden. Connection cannot grow in interrogation mode. It can only grow in observation mode. So I made a shift. Instead of asking questions, I began sharing what I noticed. I started making observations about the little things she said, the emotions she revealed, The way she carried herself even through words on a screen. I'd say something simple. I can tell you've been thinking about this a lot. Or it seems like you're really proud of how that went. Nothing manipulative, nothing forced, just acknowledgement. Observations signal awareness, attentiveness, and emotional intelligence. They communicate that you're present without creating demand. And when someone feels seen without pressure, the natural response is to open up, to elaborate, to share more than they might have intended. It's amazing how subtle this is, yet how profound the effect can be. Observing instead of questioning creates a mirror where the other person sees themselves reflected back, not as a subject of your curiosity, but as a human being worthy of attention. It taps into a deeper psychological truth. Humans crave acknowledgement. We don't just want answers, we want to be understood. When you provide that, the conversation transforms. It becomes less about filling space or achieving a goal and more about genuine human exchange. This approach also shifts your mindset entirely. When you stop interrogating, you stop obsessing over outcomes. You stop texting out of fear or anxiety, wondering if she'll respond. Instead, you text from a place of presence and curiosity, observing the moment, noting what's happening, and allowing her to choose how she responds. That freedom creates a subtle, irresistible pull. Vulnerability is invited, not demanded. Depth emerges naturally. The conversation stops being a performance and starts being a connection. The key lesson is simple, but it requires discipline. Stop asking for what you want. Start reflecting what you see. Stop pushing for answers. Start inviting understanding. The difference is enormous. Most people will never experience it because they're too focused on outcomes. But if you embrace it, if you write and speak from observation rather than interrogation, the walls that people carry come down, often without them even realizing it. They begin to share, not because they feel obligated, but because they feel seen. And that is the foundation of real, meaningful connection. Remember this: connection is never built by asking. It is built by noticing, acknowledging, and reflecting. Your attention, carefully and consciously offered, is the most powerful text you can send. Make that choice, and the people you reach out to won't just respond. They'll open up. The biggest shift in how I connected with her didn't come from what I said. It came from what I chose not to do. I stopped over texting. I stopped filling every silence. I stopped trying to control the flow of conversation or force a response. At first, it felt uncomfortable, almost counterintuitive. We've been conditioned to believe that pursuit equals progress, that attention equals connection, that constant effort equals love. But the truth is, emotional openness thrives in the space between words. When we stop forcing, people begin to step forward on their own. Space is more powerful than pressure. When someone feels free to choose how much of themselves to share, they lean in naturally, not out of obligation, but out of curiosity and trust. I learned to respect her autonomy, to honor her pace. That meant waiting for her responses without anxiety, trusting the flow of the conversation, and allowing the silence between messages to exist without filling it. Silence, when approached with presence and intention, communicates respect, patience, and understanding. It tells someone, without words, that they are not a puzzle to solve or a prize to win. They are a person to engage with, authentically and humanly. This approach changed everything. She began to open up in ways I hadn't experienced before. The vulnerability that had been locked behind walls of caution started to surface, not because I forced it, but because she chose to share it. Every message, every insight, every confession felt like it came from her own will, not my pressure. And that is the essence of real connection. When someone chooses to give you access to their inner world, it carries weight, depth, and authenticity that cannot be manufactured. The lesson here is simple, yet profound. Stop trying to control the outcome. Connection is not a transaction, and vulnerability cannot be forced. By allowing space, by showing patience, and by respecting the other person's autonomy, you create an environment where emotional depth naturally emerges. When you combine this with presence and observation, the 2 points we've already discussed, you hold the key to interactions that are not only meaningful but transformative. So remember this: the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop pressuring, the moment you allow someone to step toward you freely is the moment true connection begins. Give space, trust the process, and watch as openness unfolds on its own, naturally, beautifully, and powerfully.